Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy. Hey, y'all. Hey, Liz. If this is your first time listening to the Miss Mouthy podcast, this podcast is all about the narratives and experience of trans and non-binary folks and the allies that love and support us. And if you're returning to the lips, hey, you guys, I missed y'all so much. I'm so glad to be back in the studio. And so this week's episode, I'm so happy. I wanted to entitle it they are us and we are them. In honor of our non-binary counterparts, I think it's really important, especially with this week being non-binary awareness week. Who else better? Like, if not them, then who? I mean, this is my favorite individual. I mean, this person is amazing. Not only like an inspiration to me, but my coworker. I'm honored to call them my friend. Special guest, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Idel. So, like I said, I do a bunch of different things, but Idel, pronouns are they, them. Studio director, cupcake maker,
Period.
model director, all the things.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So, with that being said, and it being Awareness Week, how do you feel being honored and recognized? Because I know oftentimes, especially when we talk about like gender, most people always veer to the binary. And so, what does it make you think of to now be recognized and considered?
To have an awareness week, no, I think it's really powerful, and obviously something that I think it's a long time coming. A lot of people think about, I feel like, the conversation around gender as being progressive, when in reality we've been in this progressive society. So
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're getting back to a place where it's like we can just see people as people, and then recognize the awareness part is what we need to do
Yeah.
to make it better and safer for everybody.
Yeah, because I struggle a lot of recognizing that like I didn't at first I used to think that trans women didn't have privilege, but then when I started learning more about the non-binary, I was like, yeah, I do got a form of privilege, and I have to be mindful when in spaces or in conversations that I'm not leaving non-binary and gender expansive people out of the conversation because they so focus on me and my trauma and what I got going on that I'm like, it's a whole population of people that we are leaving out.
Dismissed.
Yeah.
No, completely. And like you said, we all have our own set of privileges. That's intersectionality for you. So I recognize even as somebody who's non-binary, I might have different privileges than somebody who's trans or a trans woman. But we all working through, we all navigating it.
Yeah.
So
And I realized in the past couple of years that it's become a conversation starter, no different than how people used to bring up trans individuals, just like, oh, I don't know if I could say they and them, and like just making it difficult and more harder than what it actually is.
it's
And
like
like,
a think piece. Like
yeah,
everybody got something to say about it.
yeah, I
Like,
feel like this is not a conversation starter on if you're going to use these people pronouns or not.
no,
Yeah.
no.
So, do you feel there is why is pronoun so important, if any, if you feel like it's even important?
I think I'm always in a different place. So I feel like there was a time where I was more so like, y'all got to get right and get cut, So I think I was in a place like that before. Now I'm kind of like, I have my community, I have the people around me who respect me, who recognize me. So that's kind of what I have to lead with to keep myself sane, keep it positive. But pronouns are really important because we need to acknowledge who people feel that they are, and it's honestly as simple as that. It's not down to biology. It's not down to how you look. It's not down to private parts. It's not none of that.
Yeah.
It's really about acknowledging what people represent themselves as. In the same way as somebody came and said, "Oh, I'm a poet," or "I'm a writer," or "I'm a singer," I would not deny them of that right to self-identify. So that's really it.
Do you know I talk about you so much, Ideal, like in spaces and places because I think you are my, and I hate to like make it seem like that or give you a golden star, but I do think it's really important to recognize throughout my journey when you have that personal connection to an identity that you may have never
Yeah.
experienced, especially like when I know cisgender people experience me for the first time. So it's like having you to connect with and identify the they them pronouns in the non-binary community has been able to be such a learning experience, but also recognizing that like it should be normalized. Like it can be just as simple as like seeing somebody knowing who they are and respecting who they are.
Literally, it's as simple as that. And like you said, I mean, I think even for me, like recognizing like the similarities in our experience, but also like the things that are different. Like you said, this is us and we are them. Like,
We hello.
okay, literally.
So take me back to a younger you. What was it like growing up? Did you kind of always have an idea that you were a part of community, or was it a like journey of self discovery you learned later on?
It was early on. I think it came in parts. So at first, I felt like I identified I was bisexual, so I was dating here and there. You know,
Okay.
very early on, I was getting the people. So I always been beautiful.
Period. And
So okay, so that was the stage, and then I kind of, I feel like I've just always been in this evolution phase, and it wasn't until I really had the terminology for what is queerness look like in gender, what does it look like in sexuality, that like that was it. It was like, okay, I don't have to try and define or fit into which box. I used to be so into like looking at all the different demisexual, all the different forms of asexual, all the different labels. And they're important. Like I said, self identity is important. But for me, I think queerness, just recognizing that is a all encompassing, not just cis hetero.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get comfortable with using or even saying the word queer because
I think it's very different. I feel like for a lot of people in my age group, for sure. It's still for some people a slur. So gotta respect that. But at the same time, it is, it's umbrella. It works for everybody.
Yeah, I love that so much. So you are a young, like to me, and my if I be so bold, I feel like you are a young mogul. So tell the people about some of the businesses that you currently have.
Yes, well, starting with my youth, like I said, I am the owner of Cupcake Nation, founder of Cupcake Nation. That's the business I started. I was in 8th grade, and it actually was so crazy. It came from like a New Year's resolution. I was like, I want to start a hobby. I want something to do, and from that point, I registered a business. It became an LLC. So 7 years in business now, from February of 2016. Started my cupcake business. I make specialty made to order cupcakes. It's Cupcake.nation.
So y'all already know, and I had one. I did try one. What was it? The cream cheese and
pumpkin. Pumpkin. It was either pumpkin spice or carrot cake, something.
it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
And currently you're a new venture.
Yeah. So within all of my artistry and my modeling, my photography, I opened a studio that I was kind of just using for myself. And so I decided from that to open Studio C. So I'm the director of Studio C. It's a photography studio. Right now it's like primarily fashion-based photography. But that is just, it's all about access, awareness. Like I said, it's something I have access to. So I'm going to provide that to other people.
I love that so much. For one, I want to give you your flowers just to say that, like, being so young and being ambitious and motivating yourself to like actually do what you set out to do, for you to say that there was a New Year's resolution and you were able to actually make it a thriving business.
At 13 years, I still want gags sometimes. Like,
that's iconic.
So I go through things and it feels like, okay, like I did that, I did this, I'm doing this, and then I look at the whole story and I'm like, wow, there's so many things. But for me, it just feels like, oh yeah, it's like another thing I'm doing. Like,
and I wish you nothing but success, especially on Studio C, because there's so many creators out here in the city of Detroit, and I want y'all to like lean into the resources. So when I say a person to your left and a person to your right, that is what I mean. There are people out in the community that's doing great things that don't wait until you get high or pay more than what you need to, when you really can get the quality and the access way easier from someone in your hometown.
Yeah, and I'm trying to build awareness for it. I say director and not just like owner or founder like Cupcake Nation, because it's really, there's a magazine opening, and part of that is about representing like Detroit Designer of the Week is a series that's coming soon. So within, like Raquel said, using and utilizing local resources, people you also have an opportunity to get put on. I can feature you in the magazine just as well as IT services.
Yeah. So it seems like you're very into, but I know one thing about Ideal is they're very iconic when it comes to fashion. Like the look that they come into the office here. Okay, how do we try to? When did you realize that you had this immersed connection with fashion?
I've always loved, and honestly, like I think I've gotten more deeply into like the history of fashion, like as of now, but I've always been, I would say, a stylist person.
Yeah.
From my dad has always just been like he'll go to the store, he'll get 3 pair of shoes, all the same shoe, 3 different colors. Like it's about coordinating and matching it every time you leave the house, making sure you look good. So that's just always stood with me. And I love getting dressed.
Yeah.
I just love putting looks together.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, in your expression in fashion, how do you incorporate it? Like, what things do you really like gear to all the time, or what would you say is your iconic staple piece?
I honestly, I wear everything. Like I'm quick to turn a skirt into a shirt, into
Yeah.
a top, into a tie. I love like an edge grunge fashion. So, ooh, excuse me. Um, Definitely, it's always something a little dark, a little like
Mhm.
grunge to it. Like I said, I love a lot of denim right now. That's what I'm going through. But layering is my big thing. So.
Is there currently any non-binary fashion designers in the industry right now?
Oh, I'm sure there are. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are. Honestly, I haven't been on a specific hunt, but I
Yeah,
I
I
don't
believe
doubt
it
it
too.
at all.
And the reason why I say that because when I see your fashions and things like that, a lot of things that you incorporate, I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Or like I could really see it in mainstream fashion. And it's like I'm hoping that if the world of fashion really want a spin on like new and innovative things, that they definitely have to incorporate the non-binary people because it's this beautiful blend, or sometimes no blend at all that's gonna really make fashion.
No, for sure. I think that's the big thing. And honestly, I feel like you see a lot of that in fashion now. Even is a lot more people, cis men wearing skirts and stuff like that. And for some people, it's a problematic thing. It's a hot topic. But I will say, being non-binary, I shop the whole store. I'm
Yeah.
not looking at like, is this the men's section? Is this the women's section? I'm looking through every rack. I'm looking through every item. So some of my looks really come from just having this awareness, this knowledge about all the different types of garments and clothes. So
Yeah, like even me, like there'll be some male pieces that I feel like, oh, I'm about to sexify this up. Like if you get an oversized like
yes,
suit
yes.
jacket and then don't wear
You
no
know I
bra.
love it. You know I
Yeah,
love it.
okay,
It's
I
my
got
look.
it. So you want to play a game with me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so this game is truth or drink. And so I felt like I seen that on YouTube and I just like, oh, I can't wait to play this.
Mm-mm. I feel like
So
it's gonna be good.
the questions are ranging from pretty much anything. And if it's something that you don't want to answer, you take a drink.
Give me already drinking.
Okay. And then if it's something you want to answer, that's the truth. All right.
Okay.
So first question. How many sex toys do you own?
Currently, 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I own 3.
I'm surprised a little
I
bit.
know. So
No shade.
yeah, so one is a regular one, and then the other one is from my friend brand, and then the other one is just like a little
Mine are literally 2 the same, 2 different colors.
yeah. Oh,
I told you I need a body. I need somebody there. I can do a little plastic in the wall, but I need some heat.
they sit there for a long time collecting dust. I'm
Sit
like,
in there. Just
yeah.
sit in there.
Do you enjoy dirt talk?
No,
No.
not really.
Oh,
I love vocal, like definitely great. Let me know you're there, but not the dirty talk. No.
all right. So have you ever been caught masturbating?
No.
Oh, surprise!
No.
I got
I
caught
keep it tight,
so
girl.
many times.
I keep it tight.
Um, who was the last person you had sex with?
Oh my God, celibacy era. I have to think back now. Like, I'm gonna drink.
Okay,
I'm gonna
okay,
drink.
okay.
Okay.
Period. I'm definitely not saying no names, so I appreciate
Jesus. Oh my God. I'm gonna text them, y'all.
it. All right, so now you can pick some questions for me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. What is the grossest thing you've done today?
The grossest thing I've done today.
Mouthy was not.
I know. Let's see. What is the grossest thing I've done today? I wish I had. Let me see.
Hmm.
No, I wash my hands.
Okay.
Okay. Like,
He said, "Let me not expose myself."
No, I probably burped today. I did. I was talking to somebody today, and the burp kind of like actually came out. I just had to put my hand over. Yeah, a little nana.
Okay, that's not that bad. That's not
Yeah.
too much. Okay, let's see. Um, Let me see. Oh, these ones are kind of good.
Mm.
What's one thing you wish you could change about yourself?
Oh, I wish I could change my patience.
Mm,
So I'll give you one trait, and then I'll give you one physical. So yeah, my patience.
I love that you started.
Yeah, I don't really have patience at all. Like I'm a real no bullshit ass girl. Um, Physical. At this point, I want Tina gone. If Tina could be gone, okay, like be looking like Idell over there. Okay, snitch. Okay,
I'm trying to vote that.
low over
Bird,
here.
little body. Okay,
Okay.
right.
So this question: if you could fire anybody from our organization,
Yeah.
who are you firing?
Goodbye. I will leave it to the HR department.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
not CEO.
Okay, well, you gonna drink that?
Land on that one.
Would I fire
Who
somebody?
watching?
Oh yeah, I think you know who I will fire.
I think you know who I hired.
Yeah, so cheers to them.
Yeah,
We'll fire them.
Mm-mm.
All right. So I don't know if your experience is quite like mine. When I experienced being misgendered, it kind of makes like I get really tense. Like it's a response that instantly happened. I get real tense and like everything turned gray. When you happen to get misgendered, how what's kind of the feeling or
It depends. It depends. Some places I go, like, dealing with family sometimes it's like going there. I have certain expectations. It's like I'm not going to go anywhere with unrealistic expectations.
yeah.
And as unfortunate as that is to say, I center positivity. So that's really my thing. Sometimes going to a space, it's like either I'm going to not be there or I'm just going to recognize, okay, that might be it. But it is a feeling. I think that's built a certain resilience about being misgendered.
Yeah.
But it definitely does still hit me sometimes. But it's just that moment of like, do I really feel like saying something?
True.
Am I seeing this person again? Am I on the phone talking to somebody? But I think it's important to do it.
Yeah. It took me a long time to build the courage to like correct somebody because I felt like I didn't have because society hadn't made enough space for people like myself to even be recognized as a person. So for me, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just act like I didn't hear it.
Like whatever.
And then it keep happening, and then it gets to the point where like, why the fuck I gotta keep being
Why
uncomfortable?
haven't I said anything?
Yeah, because if I don't, you're gonna keep doing it.
And that's the thing. I'm always so back and forth. And I feel this with not only like gender issues, but think about a lot of like race issues.
Race, yeah.
I have always been a heavy activist. I held protests and everything like that as well. So, but I had a moment in like 2021 where it was finally like, damn, I am tired. Like it's constant that I'm thinking about this. I'm in this activism mode, and when do I get a chance to just say, fuck it? Like,
Yeah.
It's a lot. But I think it is important to always, it's ebb and flow. I need to get back into that because at the same time, I might not be the person again, but it's a real respect for myself. Acknowledging who I am. That's it.
And a lot of times, especially when you said the race part, I remember people feeling obligated for an answer where it's like you already knew the answer. You asked 5 other Black people that when you came encounter with them about their hair, about their lifestyle, what this word means, and it was just like I don't have to be. So I'll be passive aggressive and act like I don't know shit because it's way more easier to do that than to give you a straight and ass conversation.
It's like I'm doing the work. It's not just like, oh, I'm standing up for myself. It's talking about these issues. I'm an educator. I'm like, damn, y'all, please.
Yeah. Or when it's reversed, like they make you feel bad for correcting them, and it's just like, no, we really want this to be a teachable moment, and I want you to learn from this. So that because you might run across somebody who might beat your ass, and I don't want to. I want to help you get there and get the tools before that happens.
Because it's as simple as that. Like I said, I hear people like, and I'm not anyway. I hear a lot of different people who say like, why are the pronouns such a big deal? Why are they such a big deal? I'm asking the same question, y'all. Why are the pronouns such a big deal? If you tell somebody what your pronouns are, I'm they, them. I mean, as simple as that. Like,
Mhm.
it shouldn't be any more of a conversation. And that, I think, is causing so much of a divide. Like, there even doesn't necessarily, for me, I feel like has to be this idea of like understanding each other versus I said what I said.
Yeah.
You know, I told you what my name is, I told you who I am, what I do. The pronouns are just another thing I'm telling you what it is.
Yeah.
There's no conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are thinking they're in a position to deem or undeem somebody by how you choose to accept
Mhm.
them. And it's like, you might not like my lifestyle. You might not like my community. Hell, you might not even like me.
Mhm.
But the fact that's undeniable is that you're going to respect when I'm telling you to call
Period.
me, address me as. If not, we don't have to have any dealings, whether
We don't
you're
have to talk.
my boss, my family, my friend. Like, we don't have to, because what you're doing is harming me. You're not going to put me in this mental state of feeling unworthy, unloved, unheard, just so
Yeah.
you can go on about your life because you will want,
Exactly.
yeah, you will want somebody to respect you in your entirety.
And that's what I've had to say to people. I've had to like get very real and tell them like it's not just about the pronouns. It's like this is a whole pathway to violence. Like
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
starts with the conversation of, well, I don't understand and I refuse to. Then to, well, I'm not understanding, so I'm not accepting it. To, well, they should have been out there. They're probably tricking people when they out met up with somebody. It's all these things that lead to this pipeline of violence. So people don't realize like all you do is amp it up when you create those situations where you misgender somebody, a trans
Hmm.
person, in an all room with cis people, and then they suddenly feel like they put on blast. Like
Yeah.
it's so
And
much bigger than
and to
pronouns.
just be like, oh, well, they know what I meant. No, no, you
Yeah.
need to hold
Or you know
yourself.
I love you. You know, if you loved and respected me to the point where you say you do, then you would do it. It's not it's as simple as that.
That is how you do it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what are some things that really help you self care and like, because this world can be very, very difficult and cruel. What are some things that help you self care and center yourself in moments like that?
I feel like in moments of misgendering, I'm just so like I said, I'm in this era now where it's like, okay,
Okay,
like,
girl.
well, please.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in that, but I think either way, I'm always just this like center positivity type person. I'm gonna think about the good in the situation, what I need to move forward, what I need to do. And the reality is, most of the people who are misgendering me are people who I really don't have to see frequently. So it's like I can correct them and then move on. I'm like, okay, let's just leave that there. But to be honest, most of my friends are trans or non-binary. Most people I'm around, and I
Wow.
experience a lot of other people like constantly. I have a lot of other acquaintances, but people who I'm around all the time, you know, have been trans non-binary for years.
You know
So
what I appreciate about you is that with you being so young, you take in and you respect a lot of things that older people have to say to you.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's so admirable because your generation gets so much flack from my generation about like, oh, they're young, they don't listen, and da, da, da," when actually they don't have to because we don't listen. We don't even fucking
we
listen.
all on this journey.
Okay. And I've learned so much from you just interacting with you, just hearing your stories. So what do you want for your generation, I guess, in the years to come? Because what I do love about y'all is that it seems like y'all have this way of accepting people and being more y'all have been able to learn from our mistakes.
hmm I would say I feel like the biggest thing I'm looking for people. Um, I talk a lot about just that positivity. I talk about that all the time, and I think it comes from a early on influence. I used to listen to activist Sonia Retailer.
Oh,
Really, I
period.
love her. I put her on. But one of the big things that she talks about is radical self love, and then there's also this idea of like the body not being an apology. So not something that you are trying to explain down or apologize for, or you need to actively
I
seek out.
love
It's
that.
about this radical self love. So I think we're getting to a place where people can, like you said, recognize different identities, recognize the importance of diversity, of
Yeah.
equity, of inclusion. But it's not to a point where it's like people just feel such a like a drive for themselves. It's radical self love. I mean, the word is simply that, and the word radical, I think, is like you don't hear it often, but it really is something that's so extreme and something so crazy and outside of the norm. That's really the biggest part of it. Like that's what makes it such a big thing. So I want our generation to lean into that.
Yeah. Because you know one thing about me, and maybe that's a practice of that, but like I prioritize my self-care
Mhm.
so much, like, that
Yeah.
sometimes it comes into problems, like, no, I have to bring everything to work that's gonna feel good for me
Yeah.
and make me
Mhm.
feel
You know
healthy.
me.
Yeah.
I the whole set was here with
Okay,
me.
okay, we gonna have everything we
You
need.
got a flag around your back.
Okay, yeah, let's put my makeup on, okay.
Literally.
Um, but thank you for showing me, like, kinship. I would have said like, "Oh, sisterhood," but
Mhm.
kinship. I think understanding your story and your journey have highlights and like some pain from my
Mhm.
own, and I just thank you for like being a reflection of like what's to come.
Mhm.
Like when I look at you and when I think of you, it's like, oh, I don't want to put that pressure on you, but it's like that generation, the way you carry yourself, Ideal, is amazing.
Thank
I
you.
definitely want you to keep that up and like never shy away from who you are because it would be no different than what I would tell my own daughter. It's like, don't shy away. Keep being your individual self because you're impacting so many people. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine my life without you in it because it's
Like,
like you're so influenced. Like,
thank you.
yeah, and you're like polished and poised and educated and all those things and business savvy.
I
Yeah.
try and be on it. And like I said, it comes from, or like you said, it really comes from just a place of like humility. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
I recognize somebody said to me the other day, it's all our first time on earth. It's all our first
Hey,
time
hey.
here. And it really, it hit me along with like just having that in mind always of like, there's always something to teach you. It don't matter who
Mhm.
you talking to, 5 years old, 7 years old, trans woman, cis person, it really does not matter. I really listen to people's stories and what they have to say. And so, yeah, I mean, that's another hope too, is that people can really tap into that. Because the thing about that word humility is not being embarrassed. It's
Mhm.
not, shying away from things because they make you uncomfortable. But it really is about recognizing we are all on a journey, we're all on the path, and you have to be able to look at yourself and say, I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
And also too, I want to say. There's a lot of young people who are just in the shadows. They don't have that to put them
Yeah.
on. So I'm always trying to put the young people on because I do a lot, and sometimes it does for me. I have to remind myself, but there are other people who are out here really doing this shit. I'm not as much of an anomaly, but I
Yeah,
definitely
just
do a
let the
lot. But
people
people
know
are out
how old are
there.
you at this current moment.
I'm young. I'm young.
Yeah.
Take a guess in the
Take a
comments.
guess. Because they did mention like an age from when they started their
No,
business.
yeah,
So
I
how
did. Oh,
many?
yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
So
Yeah.
do the math.
Okay, y'all do the
Do the
math. But
math.
yes, well, I started Cupcake Nation 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, do the
Period.
math.
So yes, what
Yeah.
great things can you see for the non-binary community in the near future? Because one thing that I do love is that like more people are trying to use it or visibility. Like for me, like this year alone, just seeing more non-binary people around and just existing and living, it just shatters this. I don't know, fucking image I had of like,
Mhm.
oh, this is what they gonna look like, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
no, that's not even.
Because you see, like I said, I shot the whole store, so it's duality. But
Okay,
I feel like, I just see like a real coming into self. And I think one thing is sometimes being around, like I said, I'm around a lot of non-binary, non-binary. I
I
say
love when you say
non-binds
that.
all the
Not
time.
mine.
A lot of non-binds and trans people. And sometimes because of that, I get to see like the best of what is to come.
Oh,
So looking at like even thinking about the survey, the trans and non-binary study, the census that
yes.
happened from
The
the
trans
trans
justice
justice
initiative,
initiative,
but
but
the
the trans and
transit
non-binary youth survey. That was really powerful to see because there were so many different
Mhm.
representations of non-binary, and that's one thing just to recognize. Everybody's not always in a different place. Some people might feel in between. Some
Yeah.
people might feel there's a lack of gender, like they
Mhm.
feel like it's this androgyny. And that survey was able to represent all of that. So I think we're going to see a lot more representation happen in different ways. A lot more research. Data equity is one thing I'm like really trying to see is get us in some studies, get us in some focus groups, because we have a different experience from trans people. Even though I consider myself to be trans,
Yeah.
but it's adjacent, but within the whole LGBTQ, it's not
Yeah.
just one. It's one community, but there's diversity
Yeah,
there.
there's different parts in it, and so, like, you hit on a word, you had said, androgyny, and I remember in my journey before I decided to transition, I used to use that word so much because medically I wasn't ready to transition, but I was so hyper femme that I couldn't hide just like being on the masculine spectrum anymore.
Yeah.
So people were like, so what's going on with you? And it was just like, first of all, I should had I knew what I knew now, and that's one of my critiques for the youth, like be okay with sending your reality. Like when people try and question you or chastise you about who you are or how you're existing in that moment, you have every right to exist just the way you are until you figure out
Absolutely.
your journey. So I
Absolutely.
remember always playing and hiding with androgyny. So I want to apologize to people who really that's their identity because it was just so safe for me. No different than with the sexual part of it. It was like I used to hide under bisexuality just because it was safer and more accepted
Yeah.
than just saying like, "Oh, I'm gay" or "I'm
Exactly.
this." Yeah.
And like you said, and we really talk about standing in it also. Like I think that's like really important because as you know, I hear a lot from people who trying to critique non-binary people is that it is this idea of a stepping stone. It's something that you're using to move to the next place, to move to the next thing. You're just not ready to handle it. And sometimes that is the case, but a lot of times that is the reality of who people are.
Mhm.
And so people they have to really come to accept that.
Like I'm not gonna lie to you, the one thing about Ideal that I love is just to wait to see what they're coming into the office having on. Like I'm just like, is they going a little bit more here? Yeah, and then like I just get so excited
I
and like
shake it up.
yeah, I'm always mind blown and I'm always impressed that like the consistency of your authenticity is so great.
Yeah.
Like I just want
Yeah.
to encourage you to always stay true to that.
Yeah, I really try and home in that. And like I said, I have a lot of good people around me, and that's the one thing I really try and acknowledge too. Is like I think I've gotten to this place from a lot of growth, a lot of experience, different things that have happened, but I've been fortunate to not experience certain things too. So at the same time, like I've had certain privileges and knowledge, and even at a space where it's an LGBTQ focused health center at 20 years old, y'all, that's crazy. So that is something like being able to come to the office and not even really have. At first, I thought I had to worry, but now I feel like I don't have to worry about what I'm wearing. Going to see all non-binary trans friends and not really having to worry about what I'm wearing or what I look like. That has provided me a real safe space. And everybody doesn't have that, but it still is a learning journey. And I'm always about, people might hear that and think you never been through anything. I have, y'all, for real. But I've been able to come into spaces too where I've been free of that. So,
And when I was just like looking at your IG and all the things, you are killing the like fashion industry here in Detroit and doing your modeling. How have your experience been navigating the fashion and art world here in Detroit?
it's been good. I think I came from my siblings, Sharkane. They live in Berlin now. I'm sure. Hey, boo. But we've been artists for a long time. A lot of friends who we were friends with were artists for. We've just always been creative. So it's been interesting because in certain spaces you might hear like there was some critiques going around like recent fashion shows and stuff that have happened, but having such a force, a group of people that are all in this representation, all non-binary, all look different, all in their identity, that was like a force, for people. So I think it's been interesting. As I go to more castings, I'll get to that experience. But so far it's been really good. And I've been fortunate again to not experience any like real direct discrimination or anything. Nobody's calling me not to say anything. People are getting pronouns wrong. But yeah, it's been good.
Okay, that makes me happy because like when I hear that, that lets me know that there is possible hope for the future of people actually being inclusive and like giving people really their flowers and knowing that like, hey, you a dope ass model. Like we need to have you regardless of what anybody got to say or our own fears of what the industry might. Because one thing about it is like timing. They like to be like, well, we're not ready yet, and it's just like, no, but you ready.
You ready?
You just ready, but you ready. It's now or never.
Exactly. And I'm gonna get into the casting space. I'm doing more casting stuff too. But I do want to get more into being a casting director. Also, I see a lot of beauty people who might not really recognize it might not see it, but also, they talk about making your own table. So I do want to start in this next year. I've been working with some local designers who are doing well, not my own, but like a real local grassroots Detroit Center, Michigan Fashion Week. So
Yeah.
Detroit Fashion Week, almost even more like specifically. So
Okay.
that's one thing is coming. It's not coming anytime soon. Look out the next year, but I want that to be a space where we can put on local designers who may have not been booked into other shows or may not have the opportunity or awareness. I want to put on people who are from the city. It's a whole access campaign. So
Yeah.
studios you'll see a lot more of the magazine, the studio space, and then eventually our breakout into the fashion scene.
Yeah. Cause that is what I'm kind of on to, like being able to like be from the city and like put on for the city and just recognize that like we got, first of all, sometimes it might be we got, but also recognizing that we got it all.
Yeah.
So in that, I just want people to be able to be okay to be like, this is what I want to do. And because I went to this event on Sunday and it was just like that. And it was amazing. We didn't need no security. It wasn't any issues. Everybody got what they needed. And it was like, damn, this really could be everywhere we go in these things that people all really wanted to collab, really cared about the people and stop caring so much about the money.
Yeah, it's like lean on each other. I think people don't realize how many resources sometimes they have
Yeah.
around them. People who are doing things and then they go out and spend the money or they on Instagram searching. There are some people around you and they talk about building across versus building up. And I like me in opening the studio, I'm learning so much from different photographers and stuff who've been in the game, but also new people, new photographers that have come out, new editors that have come out, new fashion design and marketing majors that have just graduated. Like we need to build across too so we can all build together.
Yeah. And don't let Ideal like fool y'all too, because they're also like amazing, amazing singers. So it's just like a little nod. That's why like we like in a dual
I have my
group.
background singers.
Yeah, like
they're over here.
we be we be in the office just singing, and I know our coworker be so tired of us, but I swear I'm like, we the next poetry, like
We need a studio.
Yeah.
I say all the time, where's our deal?
Okay.
Where's our record deal?
and then we go from singing to rapping, and it just be a vibe. Yes. So when did you know that music was something that you were gifted at?
I've always been a singer. Honestly, my whole life. I've always been in choir since I was like very early age, and I was in the top choir at Berkeley High School.
And
so-
you was a what?
What? Oh, I was a section leader. Yes, in the tenor, the a cappella choir. So I've always loved singing, and it's come from different.
Berkeley?
Yeah, Berkeley High School.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I wanted to go there so bad, but I had so many like code of conduct violations.
Yeah, I got into school choice, so I was there in 5th grade, and that was another thing. Like my mom was so adamant about getting me in that school. But just always been a singer, and I don't know if I ever do music. It definitely won't be. Well, at this point, I don't think it would be something like a musician. But I was secretly, I was silently putting out stuff. You'd be like, "What's that?"
Yeah. A lot of people say that because I think a lot of people have the passion for it, but don't want the shit that comes with it.
I mean, it could come eventually, but I'm like, it's not. Some stuff I do so intentionally that I'm like, I just want to make it and just put it out. Just have it be there.
And see the reviews and receives.
Like, what people say. I mean, somebody might not see it, but shit.
Well, I like to think I got a goal here. I'm just like, yeah. I was like, one day we was in the office. I was like, okay. So let the people know. Okay. Let people know how they can get in contact with you at Studio C and Cupcake Nation in case people want to get you booked for either or.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Info.
So Idel. So my Instagram is Idel Picture. So it's AIDEL Picture PICTURE. From there, you can find Studio C's Instagram. You can find Cupcake Nation's. But Studio C is just Studio C Detroit, and then Cupcake Nation is cupcake.nation. On Instagram, Facebook, Studio C page is coming, but you can find Cupcake Nation and my personal page.
Okay.
So yeah, reach out to me. Book a session,
Yeah, and speaking of that, I'm so excited to work with you for I'm directing my first like photo shoot, y'all. I've been getting more into my like creative director
As you should.
like
Yes.
role, and when you said you had your studio, I was like, this is nothing but God. Like,
Here we go.
Here we go. And Y'all know I love supporting local business and all the
Which
things.
I
And I was just
love.
like, yeah, it's about to eat. Like it's about to eat down. And like, so if you're a brand out there or you're a model out there, please reach out to Studio C and also know that like we can come up with some creative concept for you.
Mhm.
Just hit the DMs. We
Hit the
got you.
DMs, you'll see me there, my booking form on there. And like I said, it's really about access. So half the market rate, what you might think you pay for a 4 hour shoot, $300, $200, not even y'all. So
Oh,
I definitely, it's about access, it's about people getting in, and I'm still building.
yeah.
So it's still growing. I'm getting more equipment, more backdrops, more lighting. But also, like Raquel said, I'm happy to help with any concept, set
Yeah.
assistant. So,
Okay. And so, what I really want to know, what is it like dating? What's the dating scope as a
mm,
non-buying?
the dating scope, it just opened up for me, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm not gonna
Okay. Which
hold
part of the
you.
Red Sea?
I don't know. I feel like with not even non-binary specifically, but there is a real, I don't know. For me, I feel like there was a lack of approaching. I'm like, where the fuck are the men at?
Yeah.
Like, who
Yeah.
is coming up to me? Who is saying anything? Like, I'm at the club, I'm out, I'm approachable,
Yeah.
I'm smiling, I'm by myself sometimes, and I just really was not. It was not being reciprocated. I'm like, what's going on here? So I can't speak to the larger essence of what it's like dating as non-binds, but recently I'm in my love era, so
Ooh, I love that for you.
y'all will see me delusional soon.
Very, very. I love being
Crazy in
delusional.
love.
Okay. Very
Very
crazy
crazy
in
in love.
love.
Okay.
Yeah, but I understand that too because like I feel like the approaches I get is not necessarily the ones I want, or when they
Yeah.
are given, I'm just like in my head about like, damn, do he know? Do he not know?
Mm,
How much of the conversation do I need to give him before I might? And
yeah.
just being mindful to not do anything that's like misleading. Like
Mm,
I'm just because we having a conversation, I don't want to toot my own horn to assume that you're
yeah.
attracted to me. But then when you make those unsuggested gestures, then I'm like, okay, here we go. But I
Like,
have to
okay.
put myself in a safety zone to get away from you and then have that conversation. And then you can do what you will with the information. I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm not going to give you all of that right where I'm there and it turned
Yeah,
into a flag
because it's like it's
situation.
not this whole thing, and that's honestly where I am now with the people I am talking to.
Yeah.
It's light, but I also just have to remind myself sometimes. Sometimes I'll be in my own head. I'm like, I have this perception sometimes of like what I might be looking like, or people see me as, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, y'all, delusional, crazy, like insane. So
Funny.
I've been just really trying to hone in on that, and I'm so quick to like acknowledge like what I have going on because there are. I think that's how you work through it. I was just saying the other day, like any feeling, any emotion that I get to, I'm not just somebody so ultra positive that it's like I'm brushing it aside. But I want to work through it. I want to understand it. So I have to like vocalize it. I have to talk about it. And
Yeah.
so, I'm like, let me get into the love.
I love that. I'm there. I'm getting there. I'm itching. I'm opening. I'm like hearing,
Mm,
but I'm very cautious.
it's
I'm
slow.
walking. Yeah, like
Slow
I'm
to get
very slow,
there.
like a sloth.
I'm
Like
getting. I'm feeling that now too. I'm
yeah,
like, not too much.
yeah, just a
Not too
little
much.
bit. Let me dip my toe
Just
in.
dip my toe. I'm lonely. Oh, what that mean?
Okay, so for young people on Miss Mouthy, we like to do pearls of wisdom, and
Ooh.
so any young person who may be struggling with their identity or like being non-binary and existing in a space that may not be affirming, what advice would you have for them?
Mm. I say, for everybody, more is to come. More is to come. I always those quotes that say like, you have already survived your worst battle, the one you never thought you would get through, the thing that was the worst thing that could have happened to you. You made it on the other side of it. So my big thing is just always like there is more to come, and the experience that you desire, that you want, everything that you have wanted is gonna come to you. It is. So that space, those people, that job, that idea that you wanted to start, no idea I feel like it's too big. No experience is too good to be felt, and it's all gonna come in time.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I don't normally I always give my little rebuttals, but like I don't really have too much advice. But what I will say is that like I'll say it for my own community. Loving someone that's a non-binary person has been the most rewarding thing that I can honestly say. Like I did tell one of my friends, I was like, if I was like ever wanted any more children, like ideal is ideal, and like all the things. Like I really think you are amazing, and I think as a older person of the community and all experience, I think it's just okay to tell a young person that I see you, you're doing great, you're amazing, and speaking life into them. Like I'm big on that across the board, whether you got kids, whether you got friends, just being a young person, sometimes they have doubts about what role and how they're showing up in the world. So be that voice that's always centering them to let them know they're on the right path and they're doing great.
Yeah, 'cause it's stuff you need to hear, and I always appreciate it.
I
I
love
love you
it.
too, for sure. 'Cause I definitely, I look at you and I value the things that you have to say, and for everybody. But I really do, I look to your experiences and the things that you tell me, so I can move through the world. Because, like I said, even in this state of like, I got this, things are moving, things are going forward. There's always little periods where like you might be by yourself, but you have something that somebody said to you come back to you, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, girl, like you're in your head. Like delusional is my word of the day, y'all.
Okay,
I'm
that's
telling you because it's so real. We be our biggest barrier sometimes. We be the thing that is the most in our way is us and our awareness, our perception of what's going on. So
yeah, I love that.
yeah.
So thank you, Lips, for if you still rocking with you and came to pop your shit with your girl. Thank y'all for being in the building. Idell, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
Okay.
for having me.
I appreciate this so much and I hope that you come back in the
Oh,
future.
absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
And y'all know what the fuck it is. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy. Even when you what? Don't see me, you hear me. Till next time. Bye.